Hey guys, today I'm going to give you all a few tips on how to identify fake arrowheads and also show you all a couple cool artifacts. I was inspired to do this video by Rox Cousteau here on YouTube. I'll leave a link down in the description to his channel. He does artifact videos and bottle hunting videos basically every day. Two things that I look for when I'm trying to authenticate a point. First one being hinges. If you look at this point, you can see a hinge here, here, and here. Now, if you have hinges on an authentic point, you can look at them under a microscope and there'll be sediment under all of these. That's caused by water getting under these hinges and depositing dirt and sediment underneath it. Typically, if you're in Texas, it's going to be limestone. Another thing that water does, as it gets under there, it freezes and thaws and it'll pop these off. So typically, you're not going to have a lot of hinges on an authentic point. Now, after they're popped off, they will look like this. This is technically called a step fracture. You can see here, here, and here are all step fractures. Now, what's cool about this point, which is a Travis point, it's 4,600 to 4,000 years old. You can see on the base here, where whoever made it tried to get rid of this whole stack right there. Kind of neat. Gives you a look into the knapping process. Another thing that's kind of in line with the fresh flaking is you can look in the notches of a freshly made point and you'll see crushing. It's where your flaker gets in there and it doesn't quite catch the edge and it'll just crush it. If you take a look at this point, looks pretty nice, but if you look down in this notch, it's white. That's a crushed edge. But in this notch, there's nothing. I doctored this notch to make it look real, or authentic, let's say. There are ways to get rid of the hinges as well as the crushed notching. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but just know that it's very easy to fake. If you take a look at this point, which is a Fairland point I found in a field in McGregor, Texas, you can see that the notches are pretty much the same color as the rest of the point. Not a lot of crushing in there either. The next thing that I look for in a point is patina. There are a couple different types of patinas and it really depends on the material and the environment that the point was in. The most common one in my area is a gloss patina. Now what that looks like is just a really shiny surface. If you take a look at these two flakes right here, the one on the left is an authentic Native American flake that I found in a creek. The one on the right is a flake that I took off a cobble from the same creek. If I hold them up to the light and turn them, you can see that the one on the left, which is an artifact, is very shiny, where the one on the right is still kind of shiny, but it's not glossy. So a gloss patina can be caused in two ways that I know of. First one being, if a point is in a creek and it rolls around, it's going to naturally get polished by the other rocks. The second process that will cause gloss patination is called desilication. It's where the ground around the point leaches out silica and then redeposits it onto the artifact. That'll also cause this glossy finish. I have a point that I made recently, and as you can see, there's a white spot in the middle. Now that's some of the original surface of the flake that I made this from. Typically, this sort of patina occurs in high quality flint such as Knife River Flint and Root Beer Flint from South Texas. I hope those tips help some of you guys out. The first artifact that I'd like to show you all today looks like a regular river cobble, except you can see there's a notch right there. If you take a closer look at it, you'll see a long flake taken off the edge, ending in a step fracture. Also, this notch has multiple tiny flakes taken out of it. Now what I think this is probably a shaft scraper. It would have been held in your hand, kind of like this, and run along a dart shaft to smooth it out. Another thing this artifact could have been used for is cordage preparation. I think that they could have buried it about to right there, and it would have been solid, enough to run maybe yucca fibers through the notch to get the waxy outer coating off of them and prepare the fibers, make them kind of pliable. The next artifact that I'd like to show y'all is a uniface, technically, cortical flake made of Brushy Creek black flint. It's been worked entirely on this side. Now, whenever flint is formed, it's formed in limestone beds. So the outer shell of large cobbles of flint is typically limestone. If you look closely at this cortex, you can see that it's pretty weathered. It's nice and smooth, whereas limestone is typically bright white and kind of rough. One important thing that this artifact can teach you is not all flint has a patina. If you take a look at this Toya point that I recently made, it's made of the same material, Brushy Creek black, and it looks basically the same. Not a whole lot of difference in the sheen or luster. You can see how old this point looks, in my opinion. The only real recognizable factor that'll tell you this point is new is the notching. You can see the crushing in these 3 notches and these. If I really wanted to, I could make this look perfectly authentic. The last 2 artifacts that I'm going to show you all today were both found in the same site in Freer, Texas. So, starting off, this is a hafted scraper. If you look at the base here, you can see a notch and also probably the remnants of a notch. Now, what makes this interesting is it was found 650 miles from the source of Alabate's flint in the Texas Panhandle. You can see one side is beveled, giving it a pretty good edge if you wanted to run it against something. The last artifact is a little bit of a mystery to me. I'm not entirely sure what it is. You can see it's a trifacially flaked object. These 2 sides are kind of unevenly flaked, but the bottom side is very smooth. I've seen similar artifacts online. Typically they're called limises, but most of them are probably around 1.5 inches longer than that. Personally, what I think it is a atlatl spur. Imagine you hafted it onto your atlatl. This would be pretty much the perfect height to knock a dart onto. I'll probably have to send this off to get it authenticated because I'd really like to know what it is. That's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about the audio and video quality. As you can tell, I'm pretty nervous. I stuttered a little bit, but I'll work on that. My next video is going to be flint knapping. I'm going to give you all some tips on how to make arrowheads and also show you what tools I use. So stay tuned for that. Thanks. See you guys later.